From TLDR News, this is your daily briefing for Wednesday, the 22nd of June, 2022. Good afternoon. Today we'll be discussing some of the biggest stories, including the Capitol Riot congressional hearing and the UK's plan to overturn human rights rulings. We'll also be answering today's big question: why isn't Ukraine hosting Eurovision next year? As well as discussing the UK's upcoming by-elections. But first, Afghanistan's earthquake. Early this morning, Afghanistan suffered a huge earthquake. Specifically, the quake hit around the Pakatika region and the city Khost, south of Kabul. While there is a limited amount of information about the earthquake, it's been confirmed that it had a magnitude of 6, and there are currently 920 confirmed deaths and more than 600 injuries. Footage on social media has circulated showing residents laying in brick and rubble from their houses, and of people on IV drips on chairs outside their homes. Aid is currently reaching the region via helicopters. The issue is, though, that international relief is slightly complicated at the moment following the withdrawal of the international community after the Taliban's takeover of the country last year. Unfortunately, Afghanistan is a tectonically active region, meaning it's prone to quakes. In the last decade, about 7,000 people have died in earthquakes. Over in the US, the congressional hearings over the January the 6th Capitol riot are still ongoing. This week, it seems that the focus was on US election officials and how they felt intimidated by Trump voters. Following his defeat in the 2020 election, President Trump falsely claimed that the election had been stolen from him. Many of his supporters believed this, and, according to the hearing, were subjected to relentless pressure and were made to feel threatened. The Speaker of one of the contested states, Arizona, said of Trump's claims that "we received in excess of 20,000 emails and tens of thousands of voicemails and texts, which saturated our offices, and we were unable to work, at least communicate." Others were branded as paedophiles simply for rejecting the president's narrative. The congressional investigation continues. There's more on the way, but be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to make the daily briefing part of your daily routine. Or just search for us on your podcast app to listen along. Today, the government is set to introduce a new British Bill of Rights to Parliament that would give it the power to reverse rulings by the European Court of Human Rights. The bill, which repeals and replaces the Human Rights Act, will, in the government's words, make clear that the UK Supreme Court is the ultimate judicial decision-maker on human rights issues. The bill will also give greater weight to freedom of speech in law. The proposals come after the ECHR blocked the removal of asylum seekers to Rwanda, something the government explicitly notes, stressing the bill will confirm that interim measures, such as the one issued last week, which prevented the removal flight to Rwanda, are not binding on UK courts. The Deputy Prime Minister, Dominic Raab, did, however, confirm that the government would not quit the European Convention on Human Rights. Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman will meet with Turkish President Erdogan today for a meeting aimed at normalising ties between the two countries, which were damaged following the murder of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi in 2018. Erdogan had blamed the murder on the highest levels of the Saudi government, a claim supported by Western intelligence. Prince Mohammed's visit to Turkey is the first in years and follows one-to-one talks between the two leaders in Saudi Arabia in April. Saudi Arabia has been leveraging its power as a wealthy oil producer in an attempt to shed its pariah status as the world struggles with soaring fuel prices. Turkey, meanwhile, has been in an economic crisis for some time and is heading for an election next year, so may be looking to Saudi Arabia for trade and investment. Italian Foreign Minister Luigi Di Maio has left the populist Five Star movement to set up his own parliamentary group in protest of his former party's opposition to sending weapons to Ukraine. The move follows a period of rising tension between Di Maio and his party's leader, Giuseppe Conte. Di Maio accused the Five Star Party of undermining the multi-party government's effort to support Ukraine against Russia and risking the government's stability because of a crisis in the polls. His new group will support Mario Draghi's government and its support for Ukraine. More than 60 other lawmakers will defect from the Five-Star Party alongside Di Maio. He says that as a result, the Five-Star Party will no longer be the largest party in the Italian parliament. That's all we have time for on YouTube today, but if you want more, including our discussion on why isn't Ukraine hosting Eurovision next year, and the UK's upcoming by-elections, then watch the extended edition of the Daily Briefing over on Nebula. Nebula subscribers not only get everything you've already watched ad-free, but also an extended edition of the show every single day, available to watch on Nebula or stream on your podcast app of choice. So if you want to support the channel and get a more extensive daily briefing every day, you'll want to sign up. And there's good news. Our friends at CuriosityStream, the streaming service which offers some of the best documentaries, is offering a deal whereby you can get both platforms, CuriosityStream and Nebula, for less than $15 a year. That's all the best documentaries you could want on CuriosityStream, and then more TLDR on Nebula, including the extended briefing, other full exclusive TLDR videos, and it's always ad-free. Click the link below to get both services for less than $15 a year and support the channel.